Well, hello there, folks. Welcome to discussions with our last three brain cells. Uh, I'm Marcus, the first time introducer, whatever words. Um, and you're listening to our podcast with Max and Keegan as well.
First one of the year.
So,
Yeah.
Keegan, can you go ahead and do me a favor and get that audio clip from Drake and Josh whenever Josh would just go, words!
Yeah.
And just every single time Marcus does that, pause it and put that in there.
If you send me the YouTube video, I will attempt to cut it in at least one part of the podcast. That will be our first edited soundbite.
Should just get a keyboard and have that every time he says that and just have a button I can hit. It just goes, words!
Could do that. You gotta send me the link. We'll figure it out. That's our next step.
We're evolving.
Exactly.
We're like Pokemon. Pokemon?
Digimon.
Pokemon. Digimon.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, Digimon. Let's talk about something I know nothing about, but I know that it was a rival to Pokemon, but no one remembers it.
Digimon was
I
the best.
remember it.
It was way cooler. They did like machine guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like on. It was like the first one's like, oh, this is just a ripoff from Pokemon. It's like, oh wow, that's really aggressive. And then they're like a mechanized giant murder dinosaur fighting like viruses that are like, or like a computer viruses that is like taking over the world. It was really intense.
Speaking of murder dinosaurs, there's this Russian movie
Oh,
called
God.
Guardians, and it is fucking amazing. It is a Russian superhero movie, and it's like kind of like I've themed it as like the Russian Avengers. And there's like a couple different people, like a couple different powers. Like this one dude who's basically like a stone bender, or like a fucking earthbender from Avatar. I think there's a bitch that turns invisible. But then there's this another dude who is a werebear.
I love that.
He transforms into a bear. But he doesn't have to transform all the way, and it's at will. But sometimes he just transforms halfway, and it's just top half of him's a bear, and the bottom
I
half
feel like
is
that's
legs.
inefficient.
But you don't know that he can go full bear until the end of the movie.
Oh,
At the end of the
that's
movie,
a cool surprise.
they have to do something, and I completely forget what it is. But they're giving them like all these like super cool superhero kits, right? And, like getting them pimped out by the Russian government, like in the good way, like getting a bunch of shit on them, not getting like fucking sex trafficked, which is the other big Russian enterprise. But they give this bear a minigun on his fucking shoulder, and it's like mounted. And this dude's wandering around half bear form with a minigun on his shoulder that just tracks his eyes, so he just has to look places, and it shoots whenever he like just looks at it. So he's just running around tearing people apart with bear shit while a minigun's fucking shooting everything, and then he just goes absolutely psycho and transforms into a full bear, and then you just have this awesome scene of a like 600-pound grizzly bear running people down, shooting them with a minigun, and ripping them in half. And it is fucking amazing. If the movie had an English dub, I'd say we all sit down and watch it. We might have to
We
sit
could
down and
redub
watch
it.
it anyway.
We
even
could
if it's in
redub it.
Russian.
Yeah.
Oh, could that be our second industry? We can start dubbing movies.
I love that. I love the sound of that.
It's gonna be a little bit before we get to that level of technology, but we can do our best.
Well, first of all, let's go back and redub Hercules in New York.
Is that with Schwarzenegger?
It is with Schwarzenegger.
Is that his first movie? I think that's his first.
It might have been one of his first American movies.
Okay, yeah, that helps.
Hercules in New York is the 1970 classic by director Arthur Allen Seidelman that everyone knows and loves,
Classic.
where
Very
Arnold
liberal with the
Schwarzenegger
word.
doesn't actually say anything in it. And unlike Conan the Barbarian, where he doesn't say anything until 25 minutes into the movie, everything he says is dubbed over, and it does not sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it is fucking hilarious.
They have is it someone like who's like a nerdy, like is it like a nerdy voice or what?
No, it's like classic like 70s man voice.
Okay.
right? So it's like kind of deep, but it has those like 1970s like Superman, like Clark Kent undertones, where it's like supposed to be like really strong, powerful, masculine voice, but it's not
So it
Arnold's.
doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably made sense then, but
Yeah, if you don't know who the fuck he is, sorry.
and this is like whenever he was starting to like really be known for bodybuilding, so he is just fucking massive in it.
Yeah, I don't think I fully understand how big Arnold Schwarzenegger actually was at his peak, because he was massive for so many movies, but he was like not as big as he was.
Yeah, like he
Well,
lost weight for Conan, I know, because he had a problem
he
wielding the sword. What a
and he
dork.
still had an issue.
Yeah.
No, he lost probably 20 to 30 pounds for
And he
Conan.
was still gargantuan. Oh. Max stepped away for a sec. He's got two dogs, so I bet one of them was chewing on something, but I don't know.
Probably.
Oh, he's back. Okay. Successful.
Ah, yeah.
I called it.
Dog letting out. Soon I'll have to
Called
get the
it.
dogs back in. We have this little bell on our doorknob, and Siri, the little one, goes up and just nudges it with her nose whenever she has to go out, and she nudged it like 4 times in a row. She just would nudge it, look at me. Okay, he's not paying attention. Nudge it, look at me. Okay, he's not paying attention.
I
Nudge
mean,
it,
it's better than
look at me.
barking.
It's like fair. No, it's
It's
very good.
great.
No, she's doing. Before she used to like jump up and
Yeah,
down
that's
on
not
the
the way to
door.
be.
No. So
There
it
was
was New Year's. How's
good.
everyone's New Year's?
just kind of
Pretty,
laid
pretty
low, and
meh, but I'm not complaining.
it was nice to relax for a holiday and just kind of hang out.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
way of putting it. Not having to worry about anything.
I kind of miss it. It's one of the few that. 1 second.
Uh-oh.
You
Error!
you can hear the hammer dropping.
The Hounds of Baskerville.
Oh, just clamoring and the clattering and the this is
Um,
it's just the sound I imagine just emanates from his house all the time.
yep.
Oh. So Marcus, what was the topic that you wanted to talk about? Because I know Max is ripping on some rustic furniture. We're covering a bit of the anti-vax movement. Do you remember what yours was?
I don't remember. I was gonna say something, but I think I'm just gonna wing it. You know, fine.
Right. I'm glad we discussed this
No
before
problem.
we started recording.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. It makes
What
for
did
a
we
more
discuss?
interesting time.
What was Marcus's topic? Do you remember what it was?
Oh
Because
fuck!
yours is
Not
rustic
a goddamn
furniture.
clue.
Mine is following up on the anti-vax
Yeah, my
movement.
hate for it.
I don't
Marcus,
remember
do
if
you
you
have
had
a topic?
Not really. Kind of, sort of, but not really.
Wait. I think I might have wrote it down.
If you're saying kinda sorta, it means you have somewhat of an idea.
He
I
remembers
mean, I
it,
can
but he
talk
doesn't
about
want
a
to
lot
admit
of
it.
things.
Either way,
Oh no, I
Oh,
have a topic and I have a bonus.
let's cover
topic,
your bonus
so.
topic. Let's continue our discussion of New Year's.
what is your
Because it
bonus
was a
topic?
wonderful New Year's.
What are your guys' New Year's resolutions?
Oh yeah.
I thought about this all
Okay.
day. I was excited for this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to go then?
I want to be more consistent in my exercise and in managing my sleep, and I never want to fall behind the power curve. So I always get in the habit of, like with my master's courses and with some of my work, where I kind of let it pile up and then I wait for it to be a pile that's big enough to worry about and then I get rid of that pile. But I want to do everything on the front end. So if I have 4 assignments due on Sunday, I want to do them all by Tuesday night. Because then my time is my own and I don't let that soak up extra time than it's worth. If I have 10 hours of work, I want to devote 10 hours to it, not 20. And that,
You talked
No,
about
it's
like
illegal. It's a good thing to do.
like being emotionally wrapped up in it, like constantly thinking about it
right,
throughout the week. Like, hey man, I gotta get this done. Okay,
right.
that's fair. That makes
Just
sense.
open my schedule up. I'm just like, oh, I got master stuff. No, I don't. It's just done. And if I do it all on Monday and Tuesday, which is all the time I need to do it, if I just hammer down 2 nights a week, then it's done. So I want to do
Okay,
that.
I think that's a good
I want
one.
to get better about doing that. As well as I want to journal more, because I think journaling is important in the long run, and I haven't done it well.
Yeah.
That's something I want to do. Marcus.
Is that all?
Mine, yeah. So mine is going to be worrying about less outside, like social media, basically. Me and Kian and Max talked about this briefly in like your little group Snapchat thing. But like, I find myself like reading people's opinions and views on like Facebook, and I'm like, this is really dumb. So Kian just said, just delete it off your like phone. So I did. So yeah, just like not caring as much about like what other people think. I mean, like it's important to like try and understand what people are saying and thinking, so you can try and connect to them at like some level. Drop my pen, but like don't get caught up in it and be like, why would you think this or whatever, you know? So I'm gonna use that and just like try and focus on things that are more important to me in like real life than like more like
Say there's
superficial things.
very few things that aren't more important than Facebook.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Max, what are your New Year's resolutions?
I want to brush my teeth more.
Ooh,
That's my
It's the
first
little
one.
shit that gets you.
I got the. Yeah, no, it really is. I want to read a book a month.
that's a good one.
I, general shit. Want to be a better husband. Want to be a better doggy dad. You can never be good enough. I want to max out my PFT score, and I want to. We're supposed to be running EIBs this year, which is Expert Infantryman's Badge, and I would like
Do
to
it.
pick that up. And those are kind of my
What
Do
was
my
that?
it.
goals for the year.
What was that one again?
Uh, Expert Infantryman's Badge,
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
vaguely know what that
And
is.
then by the end of the year, I think by the end of the year, I want to drop a packet for Ranger School and see about going sometime
EIB,
next
more
spring.
like extra idiot badge, dummy.
Yeah, I think brushing your teeth is very important, and I don't
Very
do it
fair.
enough.
I don't.
I want to brush my teeth
You know
twice a
something
day.
that's honestly like a little thing that I got from my dad that is vastly improves your dental hygiene? Buy some bags of those little disposable like flossers and put them fucking everywhere. So like if I'm when I'm driving to work, I floss every day to and from the way to work just because I just have them. So I just like chew on them, but I just floss constantly.
That's a good one.
I should probably just
But get
floss.
those little flosser shits, and then like whenever you're like,
Yeah,
oh, when I sit at my desk to check my email for the day, I just like floss and just throw it out when you're
yeah.
done, and just have a fresh one every time. Good little
That's a
habit.
good idea.
Good little habits for you from Papa Brighton.
It works.
You're so insightful.
It's not even mine. I'm not.
And like,
So let's.
I know, I'm just saying, like,
Hey,
in a
do you guys
non-sarcastic way.
do you want to do the follow up from the vaccines we talked about last week? Because we got into a little bit of a rabbit hole, a
We
little
follow
bit.
up.
But it's not. It's on the anti-vax movement we were discussing a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can talk about Jenna Jameson.
So there's a lot. There's like it's hard to even look at. Like there is a lot of papers, both about the anti-vax movement itself, like papers, air quotes, from that entity, as well as there's a lot of scientific papers that are published in response that are kind of looking at the movement as a whole. So if you ever going to do this research, and I encourage everyone to do it, there's a lot of great information out there. There's a lot of videos, short, long, lots of papers, short, long, going into various levels of complexity. And I have a few that I'm going to recommend, but this is the quick and dirty of it. So the major one is a 1998 study posted in the Lancet, or published by the Lancet, on the MMR vaccine and its relationship to autism. It was published by Andrew Wakefield, who is a British physician and academic. It was up for not very long, but it was linked to massive drops in vaccination. Then it was quickly refuted, and Andrew Wakefield was barred from his medical practice and all of academia. And he is still very active in the anti-vax movement, but that when you hear about, oh, the anti-vax paper, that was Andrew Wakefield in 1998. And I don't know if you can even find the paper without like the responses being like tucked into it, because they kind of treat it as it's kind of like dirty knowledge, where it's like you can only look at it when you understand what's wrong with it, because it's so hard to tell. In response to that, there's been a massive wave on both sides. So one of the things that influences this, and this is one of the hearts of the anti-vax movement, is they relate vaccinations to autism. That's the big one, that everyone's like, oh, vaccines cause autism. And the reason that appears to be the thing, and it looks like this, but it's not, is when autism actually manifests is later in the infancy of a child. So it's like when a baby is born, it is totally normal and they progress fairly normally, but then autism starts to manifest after they've got a large amount of vaccinations. Because when we do vaccinations on babies, it's kind of like, well, if we're going to give them one, we might as well give them 7. So we give our babies a lot of vaccinations in a row. So they get all these vaccinations to protect themselves from all sorts of terrible diseases, and then that autism manifests. So that's where that occurs, but they're not related. There's been a lot of research. They've linked 99 different genes to various forms of autism, and they've come a long way in understanding autism, but there's no link between any ingredient in vaccinations of any type and autism, because it's an entirely different realm. And it's a very...
So yep. What you're saying... Oh, go on. No, sorry,
it's a very dangerous and slippery slope, because there's a lot of people that don't want to accept that their child has autism, which is becoming something that we can identify in a more clear way. It's something that for a long time people got wrapped in and got a lot of pejorative terms, and they had all these, there was people that had a mental retardation, there was this, there was that, and now we understand that that's part of what we understand as the autism spectrum. And it's such a wide thing, and our ability to diagnose it has improved, so we're seeing increased rates of it. And then we're also seeing increased rates of vaccinations, and then people don't want their child to be autistic because there's an anti-autism stigma across a lot of different cultures. So that's where this movement gets its feed from. And that's where you see, I think it was Jenna Jameson, Jenna McCarthy, there's a lot of these celebrities that had children, young children, that ended up being autistic, and then they didn't want to accept that something, they just had autism, so they blamed the only thing they could think of, which was that vaccine, and they based it off of this one refuted paper. And that's about 95 of the anti-vax, 5% of the anti-vax movement. There's people that want to delay and spread out their vaccinations. Instead of giving your child 10 vaccinations in one appointment, they do 3 appointments, and they do 3, 3, 4, or whatever. That's kind of a different argument. Like, I know Rand Paul falls in that category. But,
well,
right, that's a more reasonable request.
That's not just completely retarded.
And knowing what's in there and doing your research, there's value there. But there's a lot of people that throw it out and start crystal healing and start XYZ alternative medicine, voodoo mumbo jumbo, and that doesn't count. That doesn't protect you.
So you're saying I shouldn't go get my chakras realigned?
But I am saying,
because I'm sure those sons of bitches are way out of whack.
It's like your feng shui. You need to move your couch. That'll fix your chakras. But some great...
Move my couch 2 inches to the left and 3
vertically
inches up.
Though. A very great and holistic conversation of this is there's a guy, and he works for Baylor, an infectious disease, specifically tropical disease, of Dr. Peter Hotez. And he was on the Joe Rogan podcast at least once, and he has an autistic daughter, and he works to develop vaccinations. So he is at the crux of this whole conversation, and he is very eloquent, and he's very clear in both his understanding of the social issues around the autism and the stigma there, as well as its relationship to vaccination. So, highly recommend it. Peter Hotez, Hotez. There'll be a link in the description for that one. But yeah,
Now you said Hotep,
Hotez with a
right?
Z.
Like Hotep, like the Egyptian dude.
He had big triangles. He didn't need vaccinations. The triangle power made him immune to all disease. Right.
Big
Other than
crystals.
the mercury.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know everything
Other
that's
than
in,
the mercury he drank.
we don't know everything that's in the pyramids. Why? There's probably a giant crystal up in the tip of the pyramid, and that's why Egypt has such good health.
Right. That's why Egypt is the yeah. That's there it is. You found it.
Also, I swear to God, whenever you said autistic, and he has an autistic daughter, I thought you were going to say he has an autistic dog.
I think that that's a couple. That's just some dogs in general. Though. But basically, what you're saying is there's a strong correlation between the two, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. Correlation
Well,
does
a
not
strong
mean
core is the
causation.
foundation
That's one of
all athletic progress.
Oh yeah.
right. Right. But
Yeah.
correlation does not mean causation.
There's
So
a
the fact that
video-
something shows up at the same time as something else doesn't mean they're related at all.
Okay. Yeah, just to clarify for some people.
Like my favorite one
Yeah.
is that connection is there's a correlation between shark attacks and ice cream sales.
Wonder why.
Do you know why? Have you heard this one before?
I can
Are
probably
you,
guess.
Yeah, are you just being a sarcastic
Yes.
asshole?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
Guess?
Yeah.
Either because okay, so it's one of two things. So like it's a seasonal thing, so like people buy more ice cream in the summer and you're gonna buy it like when you're out in the sun, like on a beach. Or two, it's just like a climate thing, so like you're going to buy more ice cream if you're in a warmer area, which I mean like they're kind of related. And if you're in a warmer area,
Egypt.
or Egypt, yeah.
Right.
And if you're in a warmer region, there's more likely to be sharks attacks because you're going to be in the water on the ocean near sharks.
You're actually you're dead on. Like it's directly related to like high temperature days and like higher nicer climates because nobody goes swimming and gets bitten by a shark on a shitty day.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's a point
I'm
for
sure
Marcus.
someone
Oh, I'm
has.
sure there's
yeah,
a lot. But
yeah.
the correlation is nice days and ice cream sales.
Oh,
There's also one for crime and full moons. No, that's a different one. It's crime and nice days
yeah.
as well. Nobody commits petty theft on a shitty day because nobody's out walking, so you can't mug somebody that's walking if nobody's walking. So
my favorite one is the rise of domestic abuse cases and the Packers losing.
hashtag Wisconsin.
That is a very true one, and it is scary high. It jumps like 3 or 4 times.
Gotta love it. It's a great state.
So
That's why we are all staying here forever.
if they really care about their state,
This
they'd
is
stop
true.
losing.
Yeah.
That's why they're so good. They
Invest more
understand the
money in the
consequences. Oh.
So, speaking of sharks, can we at some point talk about that one really bad ship sinking in a Pacific?
Oh yeah,
in
where the
USS
World War II?
Indianapolis.
That
Sorry.
and how much it would have sucked to just see your buddies go and just get sucked under the water. And
there was one of those too that happened with the Japanese had to cross like a mangrove swamp.
Yeah, but you know how many sharks they kill? They kind of deserve it.
No, but they got by alligators. Like they were like infantry guys
Oh,
on
shit.
land, and they were like, "Yeah, you guys have to cross this swamp. This is the only way across." And it was like a 5-mile swamp, and like 1,000 guys went in, and a bunch of them got like eaten by alligators and crocodiles.
Didn't Nintendo make a game where like to cross like a lot of bridges or like a lot of like streams, you had to like jump on top
I think
of
you're thinking of
alligators?
Frogger, and I don't think that's related, but I do appreciate the reference.
No, I swear,
It could be an
there was like an
Roger.
adventure game way back in the day that was like it was a
And you had to
side
like jump
scroller,
on stuff.
and you had to like jump across ropes, and then you like had to jump across alligators to
That
get
sounds
across
like a
rivers and
game.
stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I played that one. Marcus, you should do some research on either alligator slash crocodiles eating soldiers or sharks eating
I could do that.
seamen.
So there's also a movie, a Nick Cage movie about the USS Indianapolis incident too. I haven't watched it, but I'm sure it's
You should watch
fantastic
it.
with him. You know,
I think we need to watch
And
it
dub
now
on
and
it.
report back.
it was
I
on
call being the
Netflix.
shark. I'll dub all of the sharks.
Can I be the Japanese?
We're just gonna have a live reading.
Shark. Rah, 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 but underwater. Rah.
Just you have to say it through a snorkel
Right,
and
so
full
I
water
gotta-
the whole time.
So that's on the list of creative ideas. Keep an eye out for that one. It might be a little bit, but we'll work on it.
I bet there's like a fun drinking game, like
Oh yeah,
card
guarantee
game.
it.
Like
Oh,
you know how
yeah.
they have like exploding kittens? Survivor of the USS Indianapolis.
Premise
That's not
is
in
a
poor
little
taste, is it?
dark, but you could make a game for it.
Tragedy equals humor, or tragedy plus time
That's
equals
true.
humor.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like we laugh about AIDS.
AIDS is funny now. There was a whole
South
South
Park
Park episode
episode.
about it.
Yeah. Yep.
AIDS is funny now.
Hey Max, what do you think about rustic furniture?
What? It's fucking disgusting.
You sent those ones. Those ones specifically you sent were pretty rough.
Yeah, so those are kind of what I was talking about, but more so, I have a pet peeve recently against like the farmhouse rustic. So what by like farmhouse rustic, what I mean is, I'm sure you've all seen it, like your girlfriends or something scrolling through Pinterest or someone's fucking feed or some shit, and they see a piece of furniture they really like, and it has a stained top, so it's just like a wood stained top, and then it'll have painted leg or painted frame or legs or whatever. Specifically that coloration. Like most often you'll see like kind of like a medium dark, I mean not really dark, but like kind of like a medium
And then like
stained
white legs.
wooden top and like a white legs.
Menards chic.
And it's just like, yeah. And it's just like, why the fuck is this popular? Like there's a guy around me that's making it and selling it for like $300
Because it's so
for an
easy.
antique.
So
Oh, it's incredibly easy to make. They're great projects for people just getting into woodworking because they're incredibly fucking simple. But why are people buying them?
yeah, I don't know.
Why do you want this in your house? Like, I'm making one right now, but it's going to
Right.
go outside. Where it belongs.
That's like pallet
It's not
furniture.
in the house.
Like if you get like pallet do reclaimed wood
Mhm.
projects, like that's cool to have like one piece of that and then the rest of it's outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
I was,
No, it's all outdoor stuff.
I was gonna say
Just like,
basement, but
I don't get why. Yeah, basements work. I don't get why it's so popular.
I think
It drives me nuts. It's not attractive. It's not like chic. That and intentionally distressed furniture.
I put that in Menards or like Fleet Farm chic. Like that's kind of like, yeah.
But
It doesn't make sense why it's so expensive.
have you seen some of this stuff? You're looking like a small like waist high cupboard that goes on the floor. That's like intentionally that is like painted and then intentionally distressed. And
It's
like
buckled
$400.
jeans. Like why would I?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
exactly
it's
the
the
same
same
thing.
thing. And all I can think is it's like Southern person hunting shack type furniture.
that's a
A
good.
band.
Where they took the idea from the hunting shack and then brought it back and put it in their house because it's just super casual and it's great. It looks
It's
great.
that-
And it's like, why the fuck do you want this in your house? It
It's
literally
them
looks
Red Dead
old
Redemption vibes.
and not well kept. Yeah, like this shit, they're trying to make it look like it was made during Red Dead Redemption, except if it was, and it was in the condition that this is currently in, it would have rotted away 50 years ago.
don't know. I think for a long time it was probably that it was available and everyone could make it, and then it built a little economy of itself, and everyone just like, oh, that's just what I like now. But like that's terrible. I don't like. Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels
just like
dirty.
Yeah. Why
I
would
mean,
you?
also, can we talk about how simple most
Oh my
furniture
god.
actually is to make, and how ridiculously overpriced it
Yes.
is?
Cause like I'm sitting at a desk that I love. I like really like this desk. It is on two cardboard barrels and a bright pink file cabinet that I stole from my parents. And this desk is the bee's knees. I freaking love this thing. But it cost $8.
Well, it's like, yeah, I'm sitting at my dining room table. My dining room table came with 4 chairs and a bench. We bought it from someone like physically close to us. We got it for $350. My wife's family owned a furniture store, so we were able to kind of like price check it against them. And it's a piece of Ashley furniture, and the original table goes for like $1,200-$1,300 with the chairs and the bench.
What?
Actually, with the chairs without the bench.
What?
This table is legitimately a 2.5 foot by 5 foot piece of 1/2 inch plywood, about 12 feet of 1x3s, two 3x3s, and some wood
And
glue.
probably some veneer to make it look nice.
Is it
Yes,
like what
and
kind?
some veneer.
Is it like a pine wood or is it like something soft or what is it?
It's probably oak. I mean,
Okay,
it might be pine. It feels heavy, so it might be an oak top and then probably pine legs and shit.
that makes sense.
But it doesn't matter, dude. Like the difference between a piece of pine plywood, like, do they
I think
make
so.
pine plywood? I don't think they make.
I would have thought.
But it's like a fucking 3x5 or a 4x8 sheet of plywood is gonna run you
Yeah.
40-50 bucks for
Yeah.
like a nicer wood. Like
It's
so it's like this table cost $80, $100 to make,
and
if
even if
that.
you were like had the ability and like sat down to like make it nice, it's still gonna be $200-300. But like it's not gonna be $1,200. It's the middleman, man. It kills you every time. Like especially in furniture, because
Yep.
there's so much overhead to own a furniture store, because everything has to be laid out. So you need so much square footage, and it needs to be like well lit and clean. It needs to be taken care of. So there's so much overhead cost, and it's so
I
dirty.
I feel like you could run a really good small furniture shop exclusively off of something like
Oh,
Facebook
absolutely.
Marketplace.
That's why it's so much.
Um,
If you had
But
if you had a couple of really good displays where you mocked them up really well, actually had like either someone you know or like a professional photographer come in and take really good staged pictures that makes the tables look well, and just had it all set up right, I feel like you could make a fucking killing. Because if you owned if you owned like a real wood shop, like, it doesn't even need to be anything
but
crazy. But if you had like a decent planer, a decent
an
joiner, steel
actual
press,
production
table
wood
saw,
shop.
just the basics. Yeah, and like 3 or 4 dudes, you could knock out one of these tables besides the staining
And
in
it's not like the
half a
staining
day.
is a hard step. The staining is the easy step. It's like five
No,
seconds. Throw it on there and spread it out.
yeah, it just and then it just takes time to dry, and you just need a space to put it so it can dry.
I think IKEA is filling that
I
niche.
feel like you could.
Cause like if like
yeah.
You
yeah,
think
but
IKEA
it's
is?
because it's shit furniture and everyone knows it's shit.
But what about
But
like
you could get a lot
it's
nicer
like
one for not that much more, and you could definitely like you do it off Facebook Marketplace. You could do it like heck, you could do it just an Instagram page and just like make bespoke furniture, and just be like just find a piece for whatever. I'll price it out for this whatever, and I'll charge you $20 an hour to make it, and it'll be this much.
well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
And you could like definitely do
um,
that and
Like
make that
I
work.
think that would probably be a good way to do it. Like just you have like a set number of pieces like that you have as your kind of like quote unquote display line. It's and you have pictures of those and like, hey, this is what you're getting. But you can also like it'd be really easy to do really really nice furniture and be like, hey, I'll do it at 75% of the cost because I don't need that extra 25% because I'm not Ashley Furniture. I'm not gonna fucking bend you over and rape
There's
you
no
on
middleman.
prices.
And even if you made your bespoke price, like if you made it $50 an hour, or if you made it something obnoxious, it's still gonna come out to be cheaper.
Well,
Right.
charge it like tattoos.
by
Charge
by the hour.
if they want it custom, charge for
Quote it
design,
out.
materials,
Right.
labor.
It'd be perfect.
Like, yeah. Except some of the labor would be
Yeah.
kind of.
But that's the thing is then you charge for it, and then you say if you don't want that, you can pay for whatever else. You do you, fame. Hashtag free
Oh,
market.
that's fair. It's good business.
I know.
I don't know. That's what.
Like
Go ahead, Marcus.
I know like a lot of like local Mennonites. Obviously, like you don't know what a Mennonite is. They're kind of like
I don't know.
they're kind of like Amish people, but I believe they can use like technology and stuff like that, or like
They're
I
cars.
have
here.
I have a
Ah.
great Christopher Hitchens joke for you guys. Why did
I don't know. Oh, okay.
why did the Amish girl get excommunicated from the church?
Man, this could go really dark.
Too Mennonite.
Ah 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 ah.
This joke is brought to you by the number 3.
Thank you.
1.
Thank you.
2. 3. Did you see fucking Sesame Street is adding an actual
They had a homeless character.
Yeah, I
Grouch
heard
lives
about
in a garbage can.
Yeah, no, they have Oscar the fucking Grouch.
That's
Yeah.
that's so disrespectful to Grouch. He's been living in a like come on.
He's a green dude.
Can't be a fucking
who's
classic.
been living in a trash can for years. Like, come on. Yeah.
Give him the respect. Put some respect on his name.
He lives in a trash can for years, and no one fucking has a problem with him. I do it for a day. My wife's mad at me.
Completely different topic, but just popped in my head. Did you guys see that guy get fucking domed with that twisted tea? Did we talk about this last week?
We talked about this last week.
I still want
Yes.
to talk about
Yes,
it.
we
I've
did.
fucking been watching that video. There's so many good memes.
Have you seen?
There's so
There's
many memes.
so many memes. We need like a meme roundup.
My favorite one of all time is they had one
Like-
where, like, because the stimulus check just got voted down. If you're listening to this in the future, they just voted down in 2000, or didn't even make it to the floor because Mitch McConnell was like, "Nah, I'm a turtle and I hate helping people." So they had him walking down a hallway, and they had photoshopped the guy with the twisted tea like standing there, and like, "Oh, he's gonna do it to him."
Yes, that's the best one.
So
Ugh.
my favorite one that I've seen is someone took a like 12-pack Twisted Teas. I mean, it might have been like a 24-pack or something. I don't know. It was a big pack Twisted Tea. They cut a hole in the corner just big enough to pull one out of, and they turned it towards that corner so it would keep falling down, and they would pull it out, and then one would just instantly replace it and like replace it, right? And so like this dude did that, and then he cut his video in after, and he's like, "Well, hold on, that's a semi-auto Twisted Tea launcher. Don't tell the Democrats they're gonna ban it."
Topical.
And I thought that was pretty good.
I was just
I also thought it was a pretty good way to
Yeah.
get beer.
yeah. I was
I
just
was like, I hadn't thought about that.
I was just
I don't-
looking at these.
I can have my
memes.
beer delivered to me without it rolling out of the cardboard.
Would you?
That
Yeah.
works too.
I'm going on a big ski trip tomorrow, and I'm not sure what I should get to drink. Because I want to get something that I can put in my coat pocket to drink while I'm on the lift. But I can't decide what I want to get. So I don't want to get something that I'm going to hate. I
feel
want to
like
get
the-
something I can kind of sip on, but I want something that's pretty hot so it warms my soul while I'm skiing.
I feel like the classic
Right.
answer is brandy.
But I want to be able to, I don't want to take taps. I want to be able to take a drink. And no chasers and no water because you're skiing. So like it's got to be a solo standalone. Take like a drink mouthful.
What? I have one for you. Do you own a Camelback?
I do, but I don't have time to get a new bag for it because last time
But you don't want.
no,
new
because I
bag.
did what you're thinking, where we put a bunch of something in the back, and then I think I threw out the bag because I always get absolutely plastered when I do
Mm.
that, and then I forget to like clean it out for a day, and then it's like not worth saving. Right.
Trashed. It's terrible. Because
Oh
that's
yeah.
always a solid
Camel.
choice.
We had a like we did that for rugby practice one time. We did a camelback full of wine.
What?
That's
I think
exactly what I
I
was
think I
thinking.
That was a
remember
great
this. I
practice.
think
I was kind of leaning like
You think?
was this was this the one we showed up drunk to?
uh, among many.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's descriptive.
This one was just special because we left equally, if not more, drunk than when we showed up. Usually it's the other way around. So they're running around, sobers you up a little bit.
Oh man, I had one that I went to my freshman year, and it wasn't like the second week of practices, too, third week of practices. I went and got just trashed with this dude after a French test that we both did not very well on.
Je ne sais quoi.
And we drank like 3/4 of a bottle of Grey Goose, and it was a
Very
175
French.
in about practices were starting what, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock back then. We got out of class
Oh
at about
shit.
1, and then I went and played rugby for
I
three
bet that was
hours.
so fun. I bet it actually was a hoot. I bet it
That was
actually
a
was a
great
hoot.
practice. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was
sounds about right.
around that time, it's whenever I earned the name Power Bar.
Yeah. I
I
don't know
told
if
you guys
I've
that
heard the
story.
actual
Do you know
origin,
that?
exact origin story of it.
Well, the exact origin is that my dad, a long time ago, was sponsored by Power Bar for powerlifting. I was back when they actually used to sponsor strength athletes. They don't really do that anymore. They pretty much only sponsor endurance athletes
Bunch of
now.
nerds.
But he used to be sponsored by Power Bar, so he got a bunch of like free Power Bar apparel, and we had just a fuck ton of Power Bars all the time. And so as I got older, as I do, I steal all his clothes because I'm too cheap to buy new clothes. And I had a bunch of Power Bar stuff, and it's all lifting stuff, just shitty T-shirts and stuff because
Right.
they're easy. Well, they have these like cyclist shirts that are like kind of like dry fit and a little snugger. They make great rugby practice shirts. Fucking awesome. They're what I wore a lot, like my freshman sophomore year. And Gertz was the president at the time, my freshman year, and we had a pretty big class whenever I came. We had probably 10, 15 new rookies, which
That's
is
huge.
a lot because we're like a really small school and we have a relatively small rugby team. Considering we'll start the season with about 50 dudes and end with under 30.
Like recently, I think in
He
recent
was like,
memory we've had like recruiting classes like 4 or 5 guys kind of thing. Like I think we had one of 6 or 7.
yeah,
It was
that's about
huge.
normal. And we had just off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's some more that I don't remember. We had me, Kyle, Jake, Gerg, couple others
Was Hugo in that mix?
that all started then. No, Hugo didn't. He started like a year or two later. He
Right.
wasn't around real long.
He was a big guy though.
Or if he wasn't, there's
Oh my
he
God.
was fucking massive. But I wore Power Bar stuff all the time to practice, and Gersh just looked at me one day and was like, "I'm never gonna remember your fucking name, so I'm gonna call you Power Bar because it's on everything you wear." But cool.
So Gertz then graduated from his role as a president. He was in town enough that he then became a referee, and then he became our head coach. Because like legally to play rugby, you need a coach. You need like an actual adult that knows the
Yes.
rules, kind of maybe. But so Gertz would be, he would
No,
essentially he
it's-
would show up to like about a practice a week, and then he'd show up for games, which is all we needed. We were pretty much self-coached, but he never learned anyone's names. So I would, before the game, I would like write up, like, hey, this is for subs. If you need guys, this is who's playing where. And we'd have it all figured out. So we'd essentially be like, oh, blah blah is hurt. This person moves here. This person comes in. This person comes off. Okay. But it was always so funny on the sideline because he would turn, and he would just look at his card and look up and just yell a name, and everyone would kind of like think about it and go, oh, that's me, and then they'd go out. But he had no idea who anyone was. And we'd be like at practice, and he'd be like, don't know your name. You do this. But he was just wide open. He was so funny because you couldn't pay him to. played. He was the coach for me for 3 years, and I was the president. So we worked together like every single time we saw each other. I still don't like today. If I walked up, I think he would have to think about my last name. I don't think he could find me like on Facebook. Like if I was like, yeah, my name's right.
Just call me Power Bar.
Like I don't, Marcus. I would not be surprised if he does not know your name. And Marcus was the only All-American.
He did not
on
know
our
my
team.
name for a long time.
Yeah. I have a very funny Gert. I have a bunch of funny Gert stories. My very first funny Gert story. So we were downtown at Buffy's, the place of all places,
There's Express.
and I was younger than I was supposed to be, but it's Buffy's. So Gert saw me, right?
That's
and I was like,
Wisconsin.
hey, Gert, like, you played rugby before? This was like the semester before he started coaching. So I started talking to him, we started drinking, we started playing pool. We ended up winning like 20 games of pool in a row. I think I made 3 total balls. He pool sharked the shit out of it. He ran the table at least twice. And we were just pounding PBRs and drinks and just, yep.
Yeah,
and
that's
we
great.
won like 20 games of pool in a row. And like it was bar closed, and he was like, and I'm like, oh, yep, I got to get on the bus and go back. And he's like, nope, you're coming with me. I'm taking care of you tonight. And I went, what? And then the next thing I know, he grabs me, throws me in a taxi. We run, I have no idea where we are. I was a little inebriated, as you can probably tell based on the story. And I woke up on his couch with his cat, like, walking around, like, on my head and on my body. And I'm like, where am I? My phone was dead. I had no idea where I was. It's like 6:30 in the morning. The sun woke me up. I'm like, what the fuck? And I gradually came to in this shitty little apartment across town that I had no idea where I was. I eventually got my wits about me, plugged my phone in on a charger, went, where the hell am I? And so I start just looking around. I find Gertz. He's like upside down on his, like, barely on his bed. I'm like, I come in and I wake him up and I go, where the fuck am I? Why am I here? What? And he goes, why the fuck are you still here? And I went, I don't know how to leave. I don't know where I am. This is before Uber. So I'm like, where the fuck? So he goes, oh, I'll give you a ride home quick. So he wakes up. He's not awake. We get into his car. And he goes, oh, we'll play something nice and relaxing for the drive. He puts on freaking 5-finger death punch.
Yes.
It's like 7 in the morning. We're both just violently hungover. He drives me 4 minutes across town, like basically kicks me out with his car still moving, is gone around the corner before I can even look. And, yep.
That sounds about right.
And that's my first Gert story. One of many.
Oh, I'm sure we'll hear them
We'll
all
get there
as
eventually.
we continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old Gertz. Terrible with names.
Terrible at a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. He's very good,
Good.
dude.
So Marcus.
Yeah,
Marcus.
it's about that time.
Do you want to say
We
anything?
got to fill about 10 minutes. We got to hit our hour mark. Last week was about
Yeah,
56.
sure.
We gotta...
I can talk about.
It's been a while since I've heard from you, so
Yeah. So I can
I haven't
talk
said
about.
too much tonight.
No, that's alright.
A lot of yas and laughing.
Marcus, I don't know if we ever got an
No, I'm
official
good for that.
response.
Words.
I don't know if we ever got an official response from you, Marcus. My father listened in on our podcast and was kind of listening through, and he sent me that text, and I did show you. Marcus equals worst book report ever. I don't know if we ever got an official response to our first hater.
I don't even know. Like, I'm so far removed from that already. Sorry, I won't let you down next time, Papa B.
I think this. I think you need to redeem yourself. I think Keegan and I should pick
Another
out a
book
book for
report.
you, and you should have to read it into a book.
But you
report.
only get 3 days to
Oh,
read the
dude,
whole
I
book.
would be down for that. Oh, fuck.
We're not
The
gonna
Holy
pick
Bible.
A good book.
Fucking put me down, boys. Put me down.
In Latin.
Oh, I will.
Requiem
I will find you a
for
book,
Gotcha.
Marcus, and I will order it, and you will have to give us a really
Okay,
solid.
we gotta put some on the table and see if we could get some ideas and or start a poll. So this is comment time.
Comment.
I think a great one that would garner much response would be honestly the Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster, as it is something that could be easily read and understood and responded to. But if you've read the book, you'll be able to understand what we're talking about. It's a short book, it's like 100 pages. I feel like that's a safe bet. That's probably the easiest option. I feel like a harder option might be I have Lord of the Flies upstairs if you want that one. I also have Heart of Darkness, which is less hospitable, even yet. But you could just watch Apocalypse Now, and that helps, but it's not the same.
I mean,
Mac.
Vietnam,
So this is the
Africa.
complete opposite direction I was going to take it. Amazon has this really great subsection of books you can sometimes find that are basically novels about women engaging in sexual relations to things such as dinosaurs,
Bigfoot erotica.
other
I knew
animals.
you were going there. I knew you were going there. Bigfoot erotica. We're buying Marcus some Bigfoot erotica.
This one is Trans Wizard Harriet Poorbear and the Bad Boy Parasupoulos, an adult romance novel. That's a solid save for later.
We should do that. We should all.
Bigfoot made
On
We
the
should
Road to
all-
Seduction. The system. That just sounds terrible.
Come for Bigfoot CUM Volume 1, Books 1 through 5.
You're gonna get an entire
The
volume.
Big Bigfoot Erotica Bundle Monster Collection.
There we go.
Oh my
Dinosaur
God.
sex novel. And what do you sign yourself up for, Marcus?
Oh no.
Okay, we gotta pick an actual book. It's hard to write a.
Helicopter Man pounds dinosaur billionaire ass.
I want to know how long these are.
The mixed martial artist, hard hidden lesbian romance.
If you think of a
Fuck.
good book, if you think
I
of a
love
good book
this.
for Marcus to do a book report on, please let us know in the comments, because we're not gonna pick a good one, and then he's gonna pick someone else to do one, and he's gonna pick a terrible book, and we're just gonna start at the bottom, and we're just gonna go down. So please, comment a book.
Taken by T-Rex. Oh, this one's free!
What?
Taken by T-Rex, a dinosaur erotic story bundle.
So please, if you are listening,
Space Raptor
if you
butt
are
trilogy.
listening deep into the depths of our madness, please, for the love of all things holy, and for the hope of, for any hope for our eternal souls, please comment a book. Otherwise,
Her Dragon Daddy, a dragon shifter romance.
you can hear where this is going. Please don't make this go where this is going. This is,
Alien stripper, bone from behind
you
by
have
the
the power.
T-Rex.
I'm begging you. Please comment anything not related to Tyrannosaurus Rex sex.
My soul is,
Chuck's
here.
Dinosaur Tinglers, Volume 1.
Please.
Is-
Scary stories to tingle your butt. 7 Tales of Gay Terror.
Oh my God.
Who even thinks of that? Like, that is, like, unironically, might be the funniest thing that exists on Earth.
God is a Mortician, Sex God and Ceviche.
We can make him.
Taken by Monsters, the Paranormal Erotica Bundle.
I,
Hot
I,
pterodactyl
Hot-
boyfriend.
I love the cover for Scary Stories to Tingle Your Butt.
I don't. We're not showing that. We're gonna get demonetized. We say that like we're not. Oh, this was a funny thing too. So for all you people out here supporting us,
Hold on.
oh Marcus, are you gonna screen share it or something? What are you talking about? He said, hold on.
What?
So
Oh no.
God.
Continue.
so like, YouTube, you can like make money off YouTube and stuff, and I was like, oh, Like I was flicking through posting
Wait,
last
that's
week's
why.
podcast, and I saw a tab for like monetization. So I'm like, oh, click on that. Like if I need to set that up, I'll set it up quick. And it's like, oh, like just set this up in 3 clicks. So I set it up, and it's like, yeah, you need XYZ. You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 views. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I looked, and we had 10 subscribers. So if you're listening, and you don't hate us, you should subscribe and then unsubscribe somebody else because we're not and dislike
And
somebody else.
dislike.
If you dislike us, you will be
Hateful comment.
deemed our second hater, and we will make fun of you.
So, and the important part to remember is YouTube doesn't have an actual dislike function. So to avoid giving them more like algorithm control by commenting, because it doesn't matter what the comments are, as long as their comments is good for YouTube, for that person. You need to message them that you hate them and they suck.
Yeah, just a quick private message, nothing big.
Like, hey, you fucking suck. I dislike.
I have one last
subscribe.
actual topic, and I sent this in a picture, and I just remembered that I wanted to talk about it.
All right. Well, before you do that, slammed in the butt by Donald Trump attempt to avoid accusation of plagiarism by removing all facts or concrete plans from his Republican National Convention speech.
Huh.
The Republican National Convention is off to a rocky start after Melinda Trump's speech is found to be plagiarized word for word from the hit film Jurassic Park. Now it's up to hotshot speechwriter Perper Tunk to craft a perfect speech for Donald Trump, with a slight catch. In order to avoid any accusations of plagiarism, Donald has requested all facts, concrete plans, or rational logic be removed from the statement, leaving only a haze of vaguely patriotic fluff. This is erotic tale somehow. This erotic tale is 4,100 words of sizzling human on gay sentient presidential nominee acceptance speech edition, including anal blowjobs, rough sex, facials, and factually incorrect love.
I don't know how to follow that because I have like an actual question.
So, what's your
It's
topic?
like an actual topic. So I was thinking it would be interesting to take a survey of a bunch of people for how many hours a week you should have to work to like maintain yourself. Like how many hours a week should a person have to work? Like if you're gonna put a number on it, like is it 30? Is it 40? Is it 50? What's the number for someone that's like if you're gonna go to work, how many hours a work hour? How many hours a week should you work?
And
And then a follow-up question.
I think this is going to be a very nuanced survey, though, because that's not a one. That's
It's
not
not
a
a
one
solo question survey, but this is at least these two questions. So how many hours should a person have to work? And then if a person wants to be successful, how many hours should they be working a week if they want to move up in the company, if they want to move up in their situation? How many hours should they work a week?
I don't think that one. That one's harder to break down, like that last one,
Yeah.
because there's so many different situations to what it applies to. Because if you're working in a corporation and you're working like in a company like that has 4, 5, 6,000 employees, that's going to be a much different. You're improving yourself and improving your worth and moving up in the company is going to be much different than say a dude that's had a business open for a year and has 3 employees.
So
Because his moving up is growing his business, and that's his livelihood. That's his stake, and there's no other support network. If he doesn't miss quarter, he doesn't eat.
So I would argue that the incentives are different, but it's like if you ask 100 people, they're gonna go either small business or in the corporate setting. But how many hours a week do you got to work?
I think that'd be a very interesting
I think that'd be
question. Not so much like the last one, not so much from a trying to figure out how many hours someone should work, but in the different mindsets people view
Where
for
you
what
go
is
like
required of success.
if you are a small business owner, how many hours do you have to like this is the question. If you're a small business owner, how many hours a week should or do you have to work to grow your business in the way you want it to grow? And like keep it kind of intentionally vague like that.
Yeah.
And then do one like if you're in a corporate office or a corporate ladder, how many hours a week do you have to work to climb that ladder?
Is this going to be like open now so we can hear like people's
I mean,
reactions,
you could.
like
I would. I
ideas,
would love to read
why?
some comments on
I
that because like that's. I think that's an interesting question,
yeah.
and I think that would be a good one like for like a work survey at some point. Like, how many hours should a person have to work, and how many hours should a person? And you ask that one first, and then how many hours should a person work or have to work if they want to move up, and see that
And
discrepancy.
I think we need to set some. Yeah, we'll really need to set some base parameters on it because how much you have to work is well, how much do you have to work to survive versus how much do you have to work to be comfortable versus how much do you have to work to like
Right.
not have to worry. Those are all different levels of
So
work,
how
and
many should
And
you
what
have
you're
to
doing
work?
too.
Like in a perfect society, how many hours should you have to work to maintain your current situation? So like if you're
to make to completely
just to
just
totally
maintain your
maintain
current
it.
situation. So if you're homeless, you have no job to maintain your current situation, you just don't work.
That's a interesting. Yeah, we can workshop it a bit, but you know what I mean. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's kind of my
But I
point.
think that's kind of an interesting realm. Like if you're gonna put together a big survey and like ask 100 people or 1,000 people, I think that'd be a really interesting set of
So
questions.
I think because we don't have a very I don't think we quite have a large enough base to get a really good survey. I think we'll get a couple people that'll
I don't
respond,
think our 12
and
subscribers and
I
our
think we can
9.
probably figure
Yeah,
out who those people are. I think it would be more interesting if what we did is we sat down, set a couple of like standard like examples of um, survivable, comfortable, doing well,
oh, and like put
maybe a
it into
level of
like a
education,
microcosm.
standardize it, and then discuss between the three of us how much we view as necessary in order to achieve that level
I'd be
of
down for
standing,
that.
and then maybe break it down because like I definitely think there's a different level in how much. I mean, if you're looking to move up in whatever industry you're in
Hmm.
my opinion, the number of hours you need to work is as many as necessary to accomplish the task. Like that's is there an
So
upper limit? Yeah, but I think that's going to vary more from person to person than having a broad sample. Like I think that there's some industries that 100% you can get away with working 35, 40 hours a week, and you can make a rapid advancement in your culture or in your corporation do very very well. But if you're a small business owner or if you're in something highly technical like medicine or lawyer, something like that, you're not going to get away with working 40 hours a week. That's just not a thing because there's a certain amount of work you need to do, and then there's just so much education
I
on
would raise
top of it. But actually, that brings up the
education.
point. Are, are we taking into account outside work activities that are
I
actually
was gonna raise
influential to
that too
work?
because like if you say you're doing a master's program or say you're doing some sort of extra training like leadership or whatever, community classes, if you're working a 40-hour week and you take 10 hours of classes a week, is that then a 50-hour work week if you're taking it to improve at work? I would say yes, but it's an interesting.
yeah.
I would say if it was specifically for work, but I think if you sought it out on your own, it could be
Right.
arguable. Like it's still an amalgamation of what you were working, but I don't think it can necessarily count towards work hours. Anyway, I think this is something we should
I
talk
like
about
it.
next week.
So we're gonna talk about
Okay.
Marcus. Do you want to talk about those guys fighting sharks and alligators? Do you want to talk about one? Do you want to talk about both? Do you want to talk about something else?
Uh, I can do one of them. Probably do the alligators because I know less about
Hmm.
that. I would say, and like to me, like a little more interesting because, like, obviously, if you're stuck in an ocean, you're kind of fucked because it's a shark. But with like alligators, I don't know, like maybe before you're like running in or out, there's more variables. I
Hmm.
feel like, so I think that would be interesting.
Just because it bugs me.
Like
Um,
run
they were
in a
Are they crack?
crocodiles.
crocodiles. Yeah, because
Yeah,
alligators are
because
like
alligators exist in North America and South America only.
yeah.
And there's only like one or two species in North America and like 10 small species in South America.
So if you're ever like being chased down by an alligator or a crocodile, remember to run the zigzag too. Thank
Okay.
you.
So
Thanks.
Marcus is going to be
Fun
talking
fact.
about crocodiles. Max, do you want to focus on putting together kind of the framework for the discussion for those hours, because I feel like that was an idea that I liked, but I feel like you really took to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try and frame a couple of variables and come up with like some like straw mans essentially, just
I
for
like
us
it.
to argue around.
And then, do you guys have something you want me to talk about? Because I have a quick blurb here that I wrote down that I liked that I could chat about, but I'm also not against doing something a little goofier.
I'm just surprised this next
Yeah,
time.
I'd say so. I mean,
Okay.
do
We'll
what
do
you
the
want to do.
surprise, but I'm going to leave you guys with this quote, this line that I kind of. It's not my original line, but I think I wrote it down.
God, I hope it's from Gandhi.
It's not from Gandhi, it's from over there, though. The pathway that minimizes suffering is not the same path that leads to enlightenment and success.
Was that Hitler?
No. Okay, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks for listening to this far. We're gonna end it there before this descends
Yeah.
deeper into
Remember,
madness.
unlike
From somebody
unsubscribe.
else, leave a comment a book so we
Yep.
don't have to talk about Bigfoot erotica longer than we already have.
Oh,
I'd love
gonna
to.
come up
that's
so-
what
again.
happened.
Please comment though. I like the idea of doing book reports just to grind our hater because I think that's entertaining. But yeah, if you do think of any ideas, please let us know. We hope everyone has a great week and has a great framework for setting their New Year's resolutions. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Anything else, guys?
And if you have any New Year's resolutions, especially if they're outrageous, please let us know.
And we'll make fun of them.
Love to
That's our
hear.
thing. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you leave a comment and they're stupid,
They've been
we're
great
gonna
so
make fun
far,
of them.
though.
Fuck
So
you.
thanks, everybody. See you on the flip.
Keep 'em up.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Later.